My, how the tables have turned. Joe Gibbs himself leaked his own 2024 driver lineup for the Xfinity Series, including who might be in the 11 car for Denny Hamlin in the 2024 Daytona 500. Oh, it's juicy. Let's break it all down today on Shifting Gears.
Let's go! That is my guy! Yeah!
I'm Alan Bailey, and before Joe Gibbs Racing sends a cease and desist to us to remove this video, make sure that you go ahead and mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss a video. And now you can support the channel by becoming a channel member to get exclusive content, including early access to our videos and a voice in our Discord server so that you can pick what videos get made here on the channel next. And you can log on to AmericanRacingNetwork.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Oh, it's juicy! I kind of love when the owner himself leaks his own news a week or two before it actually becomes official. I love this so much. Gibbs over the weekend was at a Washington Commanders game, and he actually got to hang out with the players on field. It's Joe Gibbs, no real surprise there. But on hand was Christopher Bell and notably Aric Almirola, and Gibbs introduced Almirola to Coach Harris this way. Oopsie! Did Joe Gibbs just do that? Yes, he did. I get it. Gibbs wasn't expecting the camera to be there. That camera wasn't meant to pick that up, but it's out, and now we're kind of all waiting on the official word. We're hearing it's going to happen sometime within the next week or two, maybe sooner, probably in the next couple of days now that Gibbs himself leaked the news and everybody's running it. But it opens up an interesting discussion. Should Aric Almirola go full-time or part-time for Gibbs? We're hearing that he's going to be part-time, perhaps in the 19, splitting that car with drivers similar to what they had in 2023. Trevor Bayne and Ryan Truex both come to mind as potential other drivers for that number 19 to fill out the full season. And who else is going to be in the cars for Joe Gibbs Racing in 2024? We'll talk about that in a second, but I want to talk about Aric Almirola more in-depthly and why this might be the move to save his career, quote-unquote. You look at Almirola, he's been a pay-to-race driver essentially his entire career. He's bounced around from team to team, and over at Stewart-Haas, we thought he was going to find success, and he did find some success, but obviously that organization has been struggling for the last few years and isn't really showing signs of improvement. It's going to be a rough 2024 for them. So what were Almirola's 2024 options? You can find some money and race in a not-so-great cup ride, not really appealing, or you can go down to a lower series in quite literally one of the best rides in the Xfinity Series that is capable of not only winning races, but winning a championship. Yeah, I would rather compete for wins and a championship than run sub-30th, sub-20th every week in the Cup Series. Yes, the money's a little bit better in the Cup Series, but personally, I would rather win. I would rather contend for victories, and that's what Aric Almirola is choosing to do. Now, it's not full-time, unfortunately, and honestly, if I'm Joe Gibbs Racing, I'm looking for sponsor dollars to put Aric Almirola in the car full-time. Question is does Aric Almirola want to go full-time? And I think we're going to see kind of an AJ Allmendinger situation with Aric Almirola. I think he's going to run, we're hearing somewhere between 10 to 12, maybe 10 to 15 races in the Xfinity Series in 2024 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Potentially in the number 19, they're still figuring out the number situation over there, but that essentially means he's not going to be over there full-time, obviously. But I think Aric is going to enjoy some time off, spending some time with his family, recharge the battery, so to speak. But if he starts winning and, well, let's be honest, when he starts winning and when he starts contending for wins and top fives on a regular basis, I think that there's going to be a compelling discussion internally over Joe Gibbs Racing to put him in the car full time. And that's what should happen. This is a guy who has won in the Xfinity Series as early as last year. He won it at Sonoma in an Xfinity car in a one-off, and that kind of reignited his love of the Xfinity Series, I think. He's a guy who can win on a road course, super speedway, intermediates, you name it. This guy can get it done, and I do think he can compete for championships in the Xfinity Series. The question is, can you find the sponsor dollars? Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota have a lot of money behind them. They're kind of spreading themselves a little bit thinner than they have in the last few years because Toyota is bringing on Legacy Motor Club in the Cup Series. That kind of diminishes the amount of funding for all the other divisions, which should be concerning unless they've upped their budget. We're going to have to wait and see. But now, if I'm Aric Almirola, I'm going to get in with those Toyota people and maybe see if I can get some of those sponsors to like me and go full time. It's all about networking. It's all about establishing those relationships. And honestly, signing a multi-million, multi-year sponsor takes quite a bit of time. You're looking at anywhere from at least 8 to 12 months, if not 8 to 14 months, to negotiate multi-million-dollar contracts. And now that Aric Almirola is over there, maybe they can find something. The question is, if Aric wins a race early on in 2024 in the Xfinity Series, he could get a waiver maybe from NASCAR and maybe compete if Joe Gibbs Racing finds those sponsor dollars for him. Let's go back in time and talk about Aric Almirola's first time driving for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series. Back in 2007, like they do now, Joe Gibbs had kind of a Cup Series car that had a part-time driver. Aric Almirola was that part-time driver, filling in the races that Cup Series drivers didn't race at. Aric was essentially filling in for Denny Hamlin because the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series were not racing at the same track that weekend. Aric was scheduled to practice and qualify the car, with Denny Hamlin taking over the race obligation. But unfortunately, Denny Hamlin was late getting to the racetrack due to a delayed flight, and Aric Almirola had to start the race at the Milwaukee Mile in 2007. He actually went on to put the thing on the pole, lead a bunch of laps, and was looking like he was going to be in contention to get his first Xfinity Series win. But then Denny Hamlin showed up to the racetrack, and unfortunately, due to sponsor obligations, they pulled Aric Almirola out of the car, put Denny Hamlin in the car. Hamlin would go on to win the race, essentially winning Aric Almirola's first race for him, and Aric was so upset, he didn't even stay at the racetrack, so he wasn't at the racetrack when he technically won his first Xfinity Series race. He carried that chip on his shoulder and has talked candidly about it and how upset he was, but inevitably he understood it, and it seems like that's water under the bridge at this point. But it's very nice to see everything come full circle, with Aric Almirola going back to Joe Gibbs Racing and now going over to Toyota to have this opportunity. Hopefully he gets in good with Toyota and Toyota sponsors, and we can see him potentially going to a full-time ride in the Xfinity Series, maybe in 2025, maybe for 2024 if things work out with sponsors. But now, in the ultimate twist of irony, Aric Almirola is on deck to drive the number 11 car for the ill Denny Hamlin, not only for the LA Clash in February 2024, but potentially the Daytona 500. That's just coming full circle if I've ever seen it come full circle. Of all of the drivers in the roster over at Joe Gibbs Racing, Aric Almirola by far is the best option to take over that 11 car. Not only does he have experience for the last 2 years in the Cup Series with the next gen, but he's also come stupidly close to winning the Daytona 500 on multiple occasions. So Aric Almirola essentially could get another shot at a Daytona 500. That I'm excited about, because this is a guy who has been there, who has shown that he has speed on the super speedways. He's won on the super speedways, just hasn't gotten that Daytona 500 win. And it definitely would be a feather in his cap and the ultimate twist of irony if Aric Almirola can not only race the number 11 Toyota in the Daytona 500 for Denny Hamlin, but win a Daytona 500 in the 11 car, filling in for Denny Hamlin. But the question is who takes over the other two cars over at Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series? Word on the street is that Chandler Smith is one of the drivers returning to Toyota after his stint over at Colleague Racing. Made a big huff and puff about him leaving Colleague and Chevrolet and returning over to Toyota. But again, this is just rumored. Nothing is official yet, but we're hearing that it is a done deal. The other done deal reportedly is Sheldon Creed coming over from RCR. These are two drivers that I do think will compete for championships and will win races, especially Chandler Smith. But honestly, it's a question of chemistry and how long they take in order to win. But I do expect all three of these cars over at Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series to all compete for victories and championships, frankly. Aric Almirola, Trevor Bayne, Ryan Truex, if they truly do take over one of the cars rotating it, then I do think that they have a legit shot at winning the owner's title with that car, and definitely the driver's championship with Creed and with Smith coming over there. But again, this is all unofficial. We're expecting an announcement within the coming weeks, maybe maybe even sooner. We have to wait and see, but I want to hear from you. Who do you think will be in the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas in the Xfinity Series in 2024? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're there, make sure that you mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss a video. And now you can become a channel member to get exclusive early access to all the videos here on YouTube, as well as access to our private Discord server so that you have a voice in what content gets made here on the channel, including some extra breaking news and rumors that are going unreported as of yet. Make sure that you click that link down in the description below, and you can also log on to AmericanRacingNetwork.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. I want to thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. For Shifting Gears, I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see you at the track.